Yeah, it's there's an infinite number of doors we could enter through, but if we enter through the door of physical practice, moving your body allows you to feel something. When you feel something, you start to think about something. When you start to think about something, you slowly begin to understand, or at least you see. And when you see, now you move again. So you move, you feel, you think, you see, and then you move again. And that's what we go through every single day. We go through the motions of life. We are physical beings embodying this physical selves that is a vehicle that we supposedly are driving. And right. But we know that the majority of our being and action is unconscious. It's something that is conditioned and programmed, partly the expression of our DNA, our genome, and partly the expression of who we have become through the environments that we have grown up in. So there's a lot of nature and a lot of nurture. Regardless, a lot of it is unconscious. And by simply realizing that there's a mechanism for moving through this world and that we can become aware of that mechanism, now we also have the opportunity of making change. And the change is what we would call now deliberate living or deliberate practice or deliberate action. And what is this? This is simply you taking full responsibility, full ownership of who you are and what you do. Now, because most of your actions are going to be unconscious, you are bound to make some mistakes, but it's noticing those mistakes, failing forward, if you want to call it that. I don't care what you call it. It's that which allows you to become a little bit more aware, thus make better choices because of that, because you can see more, you understand more. And in making those better choices, it leading you to a greater level of health, which is simply feeling well or being more whole. The word health comes from wholeness. It's being more fit, which is capable of completing a task or completing a mission or meeting a standard, or producing a result that you seek. And this can be winning the Olympics. This can be completing your first race, squatting 100 kilos, whatever it may be, you can achieve that. But those results are a byproduct of your awareness of who you are and how you move, and how you take the mechanism of that and shape it, shift it, artistically mold it to become what it has to be in order to do the thing that you want to do. And that's kind of the premise of this whole notion of emotional fitness and the application of it. And that's how we would enter through physical movement.
How did you get started in all of this? Because it's unbelievably interesting to me.
Well, I was born. My mother gave birth to me, and then no, yeah, I was born, and my first memory was one of fear. I just happened to be a scared kid. I was scared of things. Scared of I remember learning about death at an early age, and freaking out that I was going to lose my parents, I was going to die, that this thing was finite. And then I was also scared of, I was just very sensitive, and maybe I was extra sensitive because at a very young age, my family and I, we moved to Ecuador and then to Spain. So I grew up in Spain and I didn't speak the language. Culture was different. So just extra sensitive and just a little frightened of things. And that just gave me a heightened sense of just life in general. I just saw things in a different way. And at the time, definitely not very healthy. But thankfully, my mom put me into gymnastics as part of an after-school program. And then through gymnastics, I realized that I had certain things that were in my control, which was my body. I could control how I moved my body, and I could mold the way that I moved in order to achieve things. I could unlock a new movement. I could do a flip, and then I could add a twist, and then I could think about how I was going to land, and then I could apply that to competition. And the more aware I became of my expression, the more I realized that that was the thing that allowed me to do more, create more, be more, or even just be who I need to be in order to feel good. And as I grew up and I claimed to be some kind of like subject matter expert in gymnastics or, whatever, I claimed to be this pro that knew something, which, yes, I knew more than the average person in my vicinity when it came to certain topics, but I just realized that that wasn't the thing, that wasn't what was really allowing me to find success or perform better or even assisting the people that I was working with. What was really allowing me to do my job well was me connecting with people. And I was doing that by expressing a level of vulnerability that was perceived as openness and not weakness. And the openness giving the opportunity for the person that I was engaging with to do the same. And that's how this whole thing started. And now here I am, kind of back where I was 15 years ago, claiming to be some sort of expert in gymnastics, now talking about emotional fitness as if I, as if I knew something about it. But I've read some books, put it that way, and I'm doing some journaling. I have a mic here and I sound pro.
No, I mean, listen, I
Yeah.
couldn't agree with you, like personally, like to relate to you, human to human, feel the same way, like kind of grew up, moved around, had, probably had the same thoughts about death and fear, and parents had the divorce, and, just again, realized things were more finite, and probably grew up faster than I should have. And, continuing to work that through all of that myself. But one of the things that, you said that resonated with me right there, first of all of it did, but one of the things that I wrote down was that vulnerability. And that made me think of a question that one of my colleagues had said to me, that her, therapist was talking to her about, like, how do you handle that fine line as a coach to humanize yourself, but still be their coach? Because I think early in my career, I definitely told the line of like, oh, I'm your coach and I'm a hard ass. And like over the course of my career, I've definitely evolved and I'm less of that. But I felt like I've become more of a coach, because a coach, you're there to help your athletes achieve better for themselves. Unless you're that traditional hard ass, in my case, what I found is they're more willing to work and be a person. And, I tell them government names only, right? Like, you don't have to call me coach unless that's what you want to call me, or you can call me Justin. You can call me by my last name because I played sports, and growing up, they just called you by your last name. So how do you handle that dichotomy, you personally? And then how do you advise people on that?
Yeah.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.